Bullet holes pierced through the security gate of Rihanna's Los Angeles mansion on March 8, 2026. And while those shots were being fired, Rihanna herself was inside the house. Asaprocky was there. Their 3 children were there. Rihanna's mother was there. Staff members were there. 10 people total, all within range of an AR-15 being unloaded from a white Tesla parked just outside.
This Florida woman arrested and charged with trying to kill Rihanna. The R&B singer had apparently been on Ortiz's mind for some time.
Listen, Rihanna, when you die, God is taking me to my future. You want to kill me. Shut the up.
Occurred approximately 10 shots heard and an unknown person shouting.
You can see the bullet holes that pierced the singer's front security gate. Her RV, parked inside her property, was also hit.
White Tesla, 10 guns fired from the vehicle.
Nobody got hit, but one of those bullets tore straight through an exterior wall. Another slammed into the Airstream trailer sitting on Rihanna's property. And the shots didn't stop at her gate. A neighbor's home caught stray rounds too. This wasn't some distant threat or online harassment that security could handle quietly. This was 10+ shots fired in broad daylight at one of the most famous women on the planet, while her entire family sat inside. The kind of attack that makes you wonder if someone wanted to send a message, or if they actually intended to end lives that afternoon. Within hours, authorities arrested a 35-year-old woman from Florida named Ivana Lizette Ortiz. She was still in the area, still had the AR-15, still had the ammunition and a 30-round magazine in her vehicle. Police also found a blonde wig. Ivana wasn't trying to disappear. She drove all the way from Florida to Los Angeles, fired those shots, and waited around long enough to get caught. That alone raised questions. Because if this was truly about harming Rihanna, why shoot from outside a security gate? Why not wait for a moment when Rihanna was vulnerable, leaving a restaurant, getting into a car, literally anywhere outside that protected property? The attack happened on a Sunday afternoon. Witnesses reported hearing rapid gunfire, the kind of sound that makes people hit the ground first and ask questions later. Security footage captured the white Tesla speeding away from the scene. But Ivana didn't get far. Law enforcement tracked her down fast, and when they searched the vehicle, everything they needed was right there. The weapon, the ammo, the wig that suggested maybe she thought about disguising herself, or maybe she just brought it for reasons that don't make sense to anyone but her. Ivana Lizette Ortiz worked as a speech therapist back in Florida. On paper, she had a normal job and a normal life. But her record told a different story. She had prior arrests for domestic violence dating back to 2023, and her social media presence revealed someone spiraling into dangerous obsession. For months leading up to this attack, Ivana posted rambling videos directly targeting Rihanna, not subtle hints or passive comments, full-on hostile rants calling Rihanna out by name. In January 2026, just 2 months before the shooting, Ivana posted a chilling message. When you die, God is taking me to my future. She made videos attacking Rihanna's appearance, spreading false claims about Rihanna having serious illnesses, and repeatedly mentioning the singer in context that made zero logical sense.
Listen, Rihanna, when you die, God is taking me to my future. You want to kill me. Shut the up.
Ivana also brought up other celebrities. Kim Kardashian, Drake, and even created an online petition against Live Nation over a completely unrelated Billie Eilish concert. Live Nation happens to be Rihanna's promoter, which wasn't a coincidence. What you're seeing is a clear pattern. Someone fixated on Rihanna for months, documenting that fixation publicly, making threats that anyone could see coming. And yet somehow, this woman was able to acquire an AR-15, drive across the entire country, and get close enough to Rihanna's home to open fire while the singer's whole family was inside. The system failed at multiple points. The question is whether those failures were just bureaucratic gaps, or whether something else was happening behind the scenes. When Ivana was arrested, authorities hit her with 14 separate charges, including attempted murder. But here's where things get interesting. The court set her bail at $10.2 million. In Los Angeles, that number isn't normal for a case like this. Bail amounts that cross $10 million are typically reserved for suspects the court believes pose a major ongoing public safety threat, not just someone who might run, but someone considered genuinely dangerous to the community. For a single incident where nobody was physically injured, $10.2 million is extreme. The justification was that 10 victims were present during the shooting, which technically makes sense. But still, that bail amount sent a signal. Authorities believed Ivana represented a serious danger, not just a one-time offender. Then something strange happened. Weeks later, that bail got reduced to $1.875 million. No clear explanation. No public statement about why the court suddenly decided she was less of a threat. The reduction raised more questions than it answered. Because if she was dangerous enough to warrant $10 million initially, what changed? Did investigators find something that made them reconsider? Or did someone push for that reduction behind closed doors? And here's the detail that keeps people from believing this was just a deranged fan acting alone. Police confirmed they're investigating a possible second person, an accomplice, someone else who may have been involved in planning or executing this attack. That detail didn't come from conspiracy theorists or social media speculation. It came directly from law enforcement, which means authorities have evidence or testimony suggesting Ivana didn't do this by herself. Look at the level of planning involved. Ivana drove across the entire country from Florida to California. She brought an AR-15, ammunition, and a wig. She knew where Rihanna lived. She knew when to show up. She had everything ready to go. That's not spontaneous. That's premeditated. And if someone else was helping her, that opens up a completely different investigation. Because then, you're not just looking at a mentally unstable woman who snapped. You're looking at a coordinated attack on one of the most famous people in the world. The timing also raises eyebrows. This attack happened just weeks after asaprocky was acquitted in a separate shooting case that went to trial in February 2025. Rocky faced serious charges, fought them in court, and walked away cleared of all counts. Then, barely a month later, someone shows up at his home with Rihanna and their kids inside and starts firing an assault rifle. Maybe that's coincidence. Maybe it's not. Rihanna and asaprocky haven't said a word publicly about any of this. No statements, no social media posts, no interviews. They've gone completely silent, which honestly makes sense. What are they supposed to say? Thanks for your concern, we're fine. Their 3 children almost got shot. Rihanna's mother almost got shot. Silence is probably the only response that doesn't put them at more risk. Reports suggest they left Los Angeles shortly after the attack, though it's unclear whether they left the country entirely or just moved to a different property. Either way, they're not taking chances. The couple had a date night just hours before this attack. They were out together, living their lives, probably thinking about anything except someone showing up at their house with an AR-15 the next day. That's the reality of being at Rihanna's level of fame. There's no way to predict when someone's online obsession turns into real-world violence. You can hire the best security in the world, live behind the tallest gates, and still end up with bullet holes in your property because someone decided you were the target of their delusions. But that's what makes this case so unsettling. If Ivana truly wanted to harm Rihanna, why fire from outside the gate? Why not wait for a moment when Rihanna was actually accessible? Celebrities leave their homes. They go to events, restaurants, studios. If the goal was to actually reach Rihanna, there would have been better opportunities than shooting blindly at a fortified property. Unless the goal wasn't to reach Rihanna at all. This was meant to be a warning, a message, a way of saying, we know where you live, we know when you're home, and we can get this close whenever we want. That theory gains traction when you consider the second-person authorities are investigating. Because if there was an accomplice, that person is still out there. That person didn't get arrested with Ivana. That person might still have access to weapons, resources, and information about Rihanna's movements. And that's a terrifying thought for anyone in Rihanna's position. History shows us that sometimes the person authorities arrest isn't the full story. Sometimes mentally unstable individuals get used by people with bigger agendas. Lee Harvey Oswald famously claimed, "I'm just a patsy after John F. Kennedy's assassination." Mark David Chapman shot John Lennon in 1980, and for decades people have questioned whether he was truly acting alone or whether someone influenced or manipulated him into pulling that trigger. These aren't conspiracy theories. These are documented cases where the official narrative didn't satisfy everyone, where questions lingered long after the arrests were made. Nobody's saying that's definitely what happened here. But when you look at the facts, the months of public threats, the cross-country drive, the AR-15, the bail amount, the second person being investigated, it's hard not to wonder if there's more to this story. Ivana Ortiz fits a very specific profile. Mentally unstable, publicly obsessed, easy to track and arrest. The kind of person who makes a convenient suspect because she was already posting threats online for months. The kind of person investigators can point to and say case closed without digging deeper into who else might have been involved. The investigation is still ongoing. Authorities haven't released full details about the second person they're looking into. They haven't explained why bail got reduced so dramatically. They haven't clarified whether this was truly a lone attack or part of something bigger. And until those details come out, people are going to keep asking questions. Because when someone fires an AR-15 at Rihanna's home while her children are inside, and then police start talking about accomplices and $10 million bail amounts, it's reasonable to wonder what's really happening. Rihanna deserves to feel safe in her own home. Her kids deserve to grow up without bullet holes in their security gate. asaprocky deserves to not have to worry about whether the next attack is coming, and the public deserves to know the full truth about what happened that Sunday afternoon. Not speculation, not theories. The actual facts about who planned this, who helped execute it, and whether Rihanna's family is still in danger. For now, all we can do is wait for more information to come out. But one thing's clear, this case is far from over. And whatever the final truth turns out to be, it's going to be a lot more complicated than just deranged fan acts alone. If you've been following this story, drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Ivana Ortiz was working alone, or is there something bigger happening behind the scenes? Hit that subscribe button to stay updated as more details come out, and smash the like button if this video gave you the full breakdown you were looking for. More updates coming soon.